I invite you to open your Bibles to the book of Ephesians. Book of Ephesians chapter 1. We finished our series on the life of David. We were there in the Old Testament, 1st, 2nd Samuel. And we have now moved on to another new series. And we're going to be looking at this letter written by Paul of the book of Ephesians. We're going to go verse by verse through this letter. I'm very excited about the reading of this letter, and it's already blessed me tremendously just reading it for me and my family. It's a very interesting and powerful letter because it's a letter written by the Apostle Paul toward the end of his ministry. And it has the themes that Paul has laid out. I forgot about the children. But anyways, are they here? They're not? The children are already there? Okay, sorry about that. Keep reminding me, Vivian, until that gets in my system. Don't. I know it's hard. It's a hard habit to break. For those of you that are here, maybe don't know what's happened now. I have committed to, before I start preaching, to being able to recognize the children among us, the teachers that are working, and to be able to wave them off onto their classes. So forgive me for not doing it today. I'm very excited about this letter. And I was saying that the Apostle Paul writes this letter toward the end of his ministry. And the themes that he has already addressed in letters such as the book of Galatians, that was one of his early letters. Themes that he has addressed in also during the middle part of his missionary time and life, such as the book of Romans. Now the Apostle Paul, toward the end of his life, puts this book that has 6 chapters, and it contains all that he has talked about pretty much. It contains the major themes of the Christian faith. And it contains the major themes of the Christian faith also in a tone of exaltation, worship, and praise. In other words, this is theology at its best, but it is devotional theology. How many of you have ever said, well, I'm going to have my devotions today, right? And you pick up a devotional book, and then it usually has a verse and some questions, and it invites you to prayer. That's what this book does. It is theology. It is the knowledge of God at its best, put together in a very compact, summarized way, but it is done in such a way that it invites praise and worship and adoration. It's a devotional book. It's a great book for devotions. The whole Bible is, but this one in particular has this note that is celebratory, has this note that invites and draws people in to break out and break forth in praise and adoration. We have said last Sunday when we introduced the letter that the Apostle Paul is in prison. That he is, the time probably is the mid-years of the decade of the 60s, first year of the Lord. And the Apostle Paul is in the prison of the Roman Empire by Nero. And most likely the conditions there were not very good. Not good at all. This was really a time of crisis in his life, circumstances-wise. It was a time of crisis in his life. He's in prison. He's away from the people he loved. He doesn't have much people around him. He's not doing what the Apostle Paul has lived for. He is suffering deprivation and cold and hunger. How would you have acted in a situation like that? What would have been on your mind in a situation like that? And we said last Sunday that the Apostle Paul in these circumstances speaks of God. That not only does he begin to write about God and what he has done, but it seems like he wants to invite others to whom the letter will be sent to do the same. We have a great tendency during times of trials to do what? To get discouraged, right? To be depressed, to complain. And this characterizes our lives, does it not? Oftentimes, we hear in the people great